Hello, viewers. Good morning. Welcome to Unacademy Let's Crack Management Exams English. This is your one stop solution to crack CAT with India's largest learning platform. In today's session, we'll be going about linear arrangements and comparisons, which is one of the subtopics of logical reasoning. Before that, let me very quickly introduce myself. I'm Arjun R. Prasad, an engineer with 12 plus years of teaching experience, having trained more than 6,000 CAT aspirants in the fields of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency, and logical reasoning, as well as have helped them to crack the personal interviews. I've trained more than 4,000 students to crack the campus recruitment exams. Now, that said, let us understand why reasoning is important, given that this also talks about introduction to logical reasoning. Let us understand why reasoning is important. I will explain the importance of reasoning with one of my small experiences, which helped me understand in a very hard way what the importance of reasoning is. Okay. At a personal interview, I was asked a question all of a sudden: for how long have you used the word define? And I was taken off guard. I was dumbstruck. Then there was a prompting that was done. Have you used it for at least 10 years? And I was like, maybe half-heartedly, I was about to tell something. Then there was another prompting where the interviewer stated, at least 5 years? I said, yes, definitely. At least 5 years, I've definitely used the word define for at least 5 years. Then came the next question, which is define definition. Now, if you go and refer to Universal Dictionary of English, you would rather get the meaning of the word define as or definition as a true, tested, and valid statement which is used for further development of subject matter is called as definition. But that is not important over here. The important point to note is the sequence of the questions that was asked by the interviewer. The very first question that was asked is, for how long have you used the word define? Then there was a prompting, and then there was a acknowledgement sought from the interviewee's end as to that, yes, I have used it for at least 5 years. After that, the question asked was define definition. So the interviewer's thought was not clearly to figure whether the candidate has by hearted the dictionary. Instead, the point was very clear to make you understand that have you reasoned things. Okay, the interviewer was checking, has the candidate reasoned things that the candidate has used. It can be so. Therefore, my friends, whatever we see, whatever we read, whatever we hear, whatever we speak, whatever we write, we need to reason it out. Without reasoning that, it becomes extremely difficult to solve questions that might appear in any competitive exam if we do not understand what actually is being sought over with the questions. Is that clear? Okay. And especially when you come to questions like a linear arrangement, circular arrangement, or any kind of arrangement based questions, you would rather think that they are all mostly visualization based questions. And why is it that very important that for me to understand who is sitting where, who is sitting to the right of who is sitting to the left of whom? No, that is not what is being tested. The ability to for a person to digest what the verbal statements and figure out and visualize the entire scenario is what is more important, and that is what is being tested as part of the arrangement based sets in logical reasoning. And the next question would be that, yes, reasoning is important, logical reasoning questions are being asked, all of that is fine, but why? So if you go and start thinking about it, you may get a question: what do you mean by management? Given that you're management aspirant, what do you mean by management? There are different people who have actually given the definition of the term management in different ways. But the one that I would like to subscribe to is the one that was given by one of the IIM professors in a panel discussion, and he just stated that Management is common sense, which is most uncommon in people. And given that logical reasoning is all about common sense, it makes it that much more important when it comes to the ability to solve these questions that appear in the competitive exams. Is that clear? Now, that said, let us move ahead with certain points that we need to understand as far as linear arrangements and comparisons are concerned. The very first point that we need to understand is that linear arrangement questions are visualization based questions. That is, if there is a statement A is to the left of B, we need to visualize, yes, there is a person B and A is to the left of him, right? And to the extent possible, visualize as if you are facing the back of the people. This is most important. It makes your life really easy. Why do I say that to the extent possible, visualize as if you are facing the back of the people? Because if you visualize as if you are facing the back of the people, the left of the person coincides with your left and the right of the person coincides with your right. So this is most important. So always visualize as if you are facing the back of the people to the extent possible. Next, let us understand the difference between A is to the left of B and A is to the immediate left of B. In linear arrangement, when I say A is to the left of B, it means A can be anywhere to the left of B. And when I say A is to the immediate left of B, it means A and B are adjacent to each other, with A being to the left of B. Is that clear? Next, if I ask a question, A is seated 2 places away to the right of B. A is seated 2 places away to the right of B. How many people are seated between A and B? Some people may think there are 2 people who are seated. But that is wrong. There is only one person seated. Always when I say n places away, it means n minus 1 people in between. If this is difficult for you to comprehend and understand, just let us paraphrase the statement, or let us rephrase it in a different way. Let us say A stays 2 floors above the floor on which B stays. How many floors are there between house of A and that of B? That means if A is staying on the first floor, B is staying on the third floor, 2 floors above. So therefore B is staying on the third floor. So how many floors are in between? There's only 1 floor in between. Always remember this. This is very crucial, because if the constraints are not considered properly, then the entire arrangement we will not be able to get it properly. So the constraints must be understood extremely clearly. Is that clear? When we say A is seated 2 places away, there's 1 person in between. If I say 3 places away, there are 2 people in between. If I say n places away, there are n minus 1 people in between. Is that clear? Now that said, let us move on to some small questions, simple questions, and then different sets. Okay, probably somewhere around 6 to 7 sets we'll be able to solve, hopefully. Yeah, let's get started. Now the first question comes your way over here. Okay, here he says that there are 5 persons. Here he says that there are 5 persons: Rohit, Roshan, Rohan, Roman, and Robert, who are sitting in a row facing north. What do? I also consider that I am also sitting and I am also facing north. Is that clear? So that I also face north. Now these are the 5 people who are sitting. Okay, they are all facing north. Next, he says, not necessarily in same order, Rohit is 3 places away from Rohan. There are many possibilities. So I will not write that over here. So I will not write that point over here. When he says that Rohit is 3 places away from Rohan, I will not consider that. Instead, let me move on further, wherein he says that Roman is 2 places away from Roshan. Again, we have many possibilities, so I would not write that as well. Then he says Robert is not adjacent to Rohan. Okay, even that I will not write. Then he comes to the point. If Roman sits at the right end, very good. If Roman sits at the right end, look at this. So now I know for sure that this place is being occupied by Roman. Okay. If Roman sits at the right end, then what is the order in which these 5 people are sitting? Fine. Now let us see. If Roman sits over here, now let me come back wherein he says Roman is 2 places away from Roshan. Roman is 2 places away from Roshan. That clearly means that this position is occupied by Roshan. Right? Okay. Next, what does he say? He says, Rohit is 3 places away from Rohan. Rohit is 3 places away from Rohan. Okay. That means if this is Rohit, then this will be Rohan. Instead, if this is Rohan, this will be Rohit. So Rohit and Rohan have to occupy these 2 positions only. One at the extreme left and the one to the right of immediate right of Roshan. These 2 positions have to be occupied by Rohit and Rohan. So who is being left out over here? Robert is the person who is being left out. So there is only one position for Robert. So going by the Sherlock Holmes theory, what is Sherlock Holmes theory? If there are n ways in which a particular event can take place, out of which n minus 1 ways have been eliminated, then the last way, however improbable, has to be the only plausibility. Is that clear? So Robert cannot come anywhere else. Therefore, Robert has to come over here only. Is that clear? Now, after we write Robert over here, we are still left with 2 people, Rohit and Rohan. But there is a constraint. Robert is not adjacent to Rohan. That means Rohan cannot come over here. Therefore, where should Rohan come? Rohan must come over here only. So, Rohan comes over here. So, if Rohan comes over here, then who comes over here? In this position will be occupied by Rohit. Is that clear? Therefore, the order in which these 5 people are sitting, Rohit, Robert, Roshan, Rohan, Roman. Sometimes you may get an answer option which says Roman, Rohan, Roshan, Robert, Rohit. Even that is right, because if the person is viewing from the opposite end and he gives the order from left to right, if the person is viewing from here and gives the order from left to right, then the order will be Roman, Rohan, Roshan, Robert and Rohit. Is that clear? Now, with this just a small question and a simple example, we can get many points over here. The first point is, to the extent possible, avoid writing something until you are sure that that is the value that can occur in that particular place. Defer writing something if there are possibilities. That will reduce the amount of time that we would be spending. Okay, it has a very close connect between Sudoku. If you have already played Sudoku, you would be able to relate to whatever I say. You would know most of the times what happens is, we would know for sure that in a block in Sudoku, we know that out of the 9 digits, 7 of them are not going to come. We will be left with a possibility for only one of the 2 digits. Either it could be 4 and 6 or 4 and 5 or any 2 digits. One of those 2 digits will come. Now, if you in a state of frustration, let us say you get frustrated after solving for about 10-15 minutes and not getting a clue or the trigger point, then what do? You say, okay, I will just rely on my luck. Today may be a lucky day. Today is a lucky day for me. So I will just, whatever I take must be the correct one. You just assume that something, one of those 2 digits, and you just fill it in. The chances are very high that at the end, when you are about to fill the last block, you understand that there is a mistake that has been committed. And unless we are geniuses, we will never know what was written after what, which means we will have to start solving the entire set from the very beginning again. Is that clear? So that is very, very time consuming process, and that is not something that we need to be doing in a competitive exam. Is that clear? So always ensure that you write it only if you are sure. If there is no other way, then we'll take multiple possibilities, multiple orders, and then we'll go ahead. But if there is any hint that comes from the question, then you have to just take that hint and then go on from there. Like over here, the hint was Roman sits at the right end. So we know for sure. So with respect to Roman, we filled up the position of Roshan. After filling the position of Roshan, we know that Rohit and Rohan will come in these 2, which means we get to fill the position of Robert. And then based on another constraint, we will be able to fill the position for Rohit and Rohan accordingly. So this is more or less like parajumbles as well, which means the constraints have been given. Yes, all the constraints have been given, but not necessarily the constraints have been given in the right order. Rather, we should also understand which statement must be read after what, so that I get a logical flow of the data from one data point leads me to another data point, leads me to the third data point, so on and so forth. Is that clear? Understood? Next, let us, so therefore that is the answer. Rohit, the answer options are here. So answer option, we have 4 answer options. So therefore the correct one, Rohit, Robert, Roshan, Rohan, Roman, which is nothing but answer option B. So answer option B is the correct answer. Is that clear? Now that said, let us move on to the next set. Okay. Now if we look at this set, he says 7 friends, Amar, Bhuvan, Chandra, Dinesh, Ishwar, Farooq and Ganesh sit on a bench next to each other facing the park, not necessarily in the same order. Following information is known. Okay. Now with just that much, what can be written? I can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 friends. Let us say all of them are facing the park. The park is over here, this side. Here is the park. So I am just writing that all of them are facing the park. So we are also facing the park. We are facing their back. Following information is known. These 7 friends are the only people sitting on that bench. Okay, good, nice. Number of people to the left of Amar is equal to the number of people to the right of Amar. Number of people to the left of Amar is equal to the number of people to the right of Amar, which clearly means that Amar sits exactly in between. Is that clear? Understood that? Next, he says, Ganesh sits third to the left of Amar. Ganesh sits third to the left of Amar. Third to the left of Amar means 2 people in between. So Ganesh sits over here. Ganesh sits third to the left of Amar. And only 3 persons sit between Ganesh and Farooq. Only 3 persons sit between Ganesh and Farooq. Therefore, Farooq sits over here. Between Ganesh and Farooq, only 3 people sit. Then he says, Farooq is third to the right of Dinesh. Farooq is third to the right of Dinesh. Farooq is third to the right of Dinesh. So Farooq is third to the right of Dinesh. And is between Chandra and Dinesh. Farooq is between Chandra and Dinesh. Please understand, he has not used is exactly in between. He has just said he is between Chandra and Dinesh. That means if Dinesh comes over here, then Chandra definitely can occupy any of these 2 positions, any of these last 2 positions over here. Is that clear? That's what it means. So Chandra occupies one of those 2 positions. Then he says, Bhuvan is to the right of Chandra. See, Bhuvan has to be to the right of Chandra, and Chandra can occupy only one of these 2 positions, which clearly means that this will be the position that Chandra occupies, and this will be the position that Bhuvan occupies. Which means, who is being left out? Ishwar. Therefore, this position has to be filled by whom? Ishwar. Now we got the order. Why? Because the constraints that were given over here were in a very logical order. So even though there are n number of constraints that have been given, if the constraints are given in a logical order, it becomes more easy. But not necessary that the constraints would be given in the same order. So it could, if I just jumble up these constraints, these statements, if I just jumble up, it becomes a little bit more difficult, and it requires a knack to be able to figure out which statement must be read after what, so that I reduce my time in solving, I reduce my work of symbolizing things, I reduce my work in terms of being able to give the possibilities. So all of that gets reduced if we are able to read the constraints in a logical way. Is that clear? So we already got the order. Now let us look at the questions. Who sits at the right end? Please understand, when we just say right end, it means the right end of the bench. Is that clear? So who sits at the right end? Bhuvan sits at the right end. Who is to the immediate left of Amar? Immediate left of Amar is Ishwar. How many people sit between Ishwar and Bhuvan? How many people sit between Ishwar and Bhuvan? There are exactly 3 people who are sitting between Ishwar and Bhuvan. Is that clear? So who sits at the right end? Bhuvan. Who is to the immediate left of Amar? Ishwar. And how many people sit between Ishwar and Bhuvan? 3 people sit. Is that clear? Next, let us move on to another set. Here, he says 8 persons A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H sit in a row facing sunrise, but not necessarily in the same order. Okay, so clearly it means that we have 8 positions and 8 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We have 8 people who have been sitting. All of them are facing the sunrise, so we say that we also face the sunrise. Only 3 persons sit between A and D, and one among A and D sits at an end. There are multiple possibilities, right? So there are multiple possibilities. If I write A over here, I can write D over here. Instead, if I write D over here, I can write A over here. Instead, if I write A over here, I can write D over here. And instead, if I write D over here, I can write A over here. There are multiple possibilities. So let me hold on to that thought. Only H sits between F and G. Only H sits between F and G. Okay. So it has to be FHG or GHF in that order. So 3 positions, 3 chunks of 3 consecutive positions will be filled by F, H and G. Okay. None of them sits to the right of D. None of them sits to the right of D. Okay. Which clearly means writing D over here is an impossibility. Is impossible. Writing D over here in this position, writing D in this position is impossible. So D cannot come over here. That's what it means. Is that clear? Okay. Let us hold on to that thought as well. Then he says, F, G, B and C sit in that order from left to right. Okay. But no 2 of them sit in adjacent positions. But no 2 of them sit in adjacent positions. Okay, fine. Next. Again, we have multiple possibilities there. A is adjacent to neither F nor C. Okay. Now, we may be able to come up with something. Let us look at it. Just let us think. I say I'm not writing it because I want to also explain it to you and showcase it to you that these can be solved without doing any scratch work. Okay. If I write A over here, then leaving out 3 positions, I will be writing D over here. And F, H and G have to come this side only. Okay. Then the only way, given that A is not adjacent to F, I'll be forced to write G over here and F over here, which violates the constraint that F, G, B and C sit in that order. Is that clear? So therefore, that is not going to be a possibility. Fine. Okay. What happens instead if I write A over here? If I write A over here, what happens? If I write A over here, in this position, if I write A, leaving out these 3, this position will be D. Okay. Then F, leave out this G, this is already occupied. Then this will be B, then this will be C, and A comes over here, which is again not possible because A cannot be next to C. So writing A here is not possible. Writing A here is also not possible, which means A is not the person who is at an end. And we know that D cannot come at this end, which automatically means that I will be forced to write D over here. Leave these three positions, I will be forced to write A over here. Okay. Now, F, G, B and C in that order. So very clearly this will be F, this will be G, this will be B, and this will be C. Now the constraint is F, G, B, C. This constraint is met. A is adjacent to neither F nor C. That is also met. F, H and G are in consecutive positions. So therefore this is going to be H. So that constraint is also met. Only H sits, that is met. Only three people, that also has been taken care of. So all the constraints have been met, and this is the only order that we come up with. So if this is the case, then this position will be filled by the last person, who is E. Is that clear? Understood? So now the questions. How many people sit between A and D? How many people sit between A and D? 3 people. See, sometimes, very rare though, but there are times when you get questions, especially when you are solving any competitive exam, when you are attempting any competitive exam. There are certain golden rules that we will have to follow. Never take set-based questions in the end. At the fag end, please do not take any set-based questions. Whether it is logical reasoning, whether it is DI, whether it is reading comprehension, do not take set-based questions in the end. Because in the end, if you are left with just about 2 minutes, and if you spend that 2 minutes to just read, and you are not able to answer any question over there, then it's a crime that has been committed, wherein you have just spent the 2 minutes for waste, right? So instead, consider these questions somewhere in the beginning or somewhere in the middle. Is that clear? If at all you come up to a situation where you are picking up a particular set in the end, do not go by and try solving the entire set and answering the questions. Rather, glance through the questions once. Because chances are that you may find a question which can be answered without writing anything, because the answer for that is already in the given direction itself, in the given constraint itself. Like for example, how many people sit between A and D? 3 people, and that is the first constraint. Even without doing anything, I could have directly stated that yes, there are 3 people who are seated between A and D. Is that clear? How many people sit between E and G? How many people sit between E and G? There are 2 people who sit between E and G. Next, if C and H interchange their positions, then who sits third to the left of H? If C and H, that means in C and H, if they interchange their position, then who sits third to the left of H? A sits third to the left of H. Is that clear? Getting the point? Fine. Next, who are the people sitting at the ends of this row? Clearly, D and C are the people who are sitting at the ends of this row. Done with the 4 questions. Next, let us move on with another set. Now, he says, 5 female celebrities, Angelina, Cara, Catherine, Scarlett and Sandra, sit in a row. And 5 male celebrities, Depp, Pacino, Spacey, Crow and Pitt, sit in another row. Not necessarily in the same order. Each male celebrity is facing a female celebrity. Please understand this, that I stated, to the extent possible, we need to visualize as if we are facing the back of the people, right? See, when there are 2 rows and of people, one row of people facing another row of people,
we cannot visualize as if we are facing the back of every person, because they are sitting at opposite direction. So therefore, what we have to do, we have to be very careful while writing the constraints or understanding the constraints. Given that there are 5 female celebrities, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 female celebrities, and there are 5 male celebrities, so I will just take them 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So to just form one order, I'll just consider, let us say this is the row of females and this is the row of males. In this row, males are sitting, in this row, females are sitting. So when we take the left and right, our left and right coincide with the left and right for females, whereas for males, their left is our right and their right is our left. We need to be very clear with this. Is that clear? And then he comes up with a constraint. So over here, as I read, so a different way of solving it, I will give you that method as well, wherein we can just symbolize the constraints also. So one way, he says Catherine and Pitt sit opposite to each other. Okay. There is, okay, Pitt. So it has to be PI, because 2 words starting with P. And Catherine, there is only 1 starting with C. So Catherine. Okay. So this is one constraint. So I'm just writing the constraints over here. Okay. So this is one constraint. So opposite to PI, it has to be C. So this is one constraint. Then what else? Neither Spacey nor Crow sits opposite to Kara. Okay. Spacey means Kara cannot come here. Another constraint, Crow means Kara cannot come here. Okay. Neither Spacey nor Crow sits opposite to Kara. Sandra sits second to the right of Angelina. And to the immediate left of Scarlett. So this is another constraint. Next, Pitt sits exactly in the middle of the row. Good. So this is Pitt, which means this has to be Catherine. Pacino sits between Spacey and Pitt, which means it can be Pitt is there, Pacino Spacey or Pacino Spacey. Okay, so that is, this much is known. Next are the questions. Now, how do I fill this entire arrangement such that these constraints are met? So already Pitt and Catherine are sitting opposite to each other. This constraint has already been taken into consideration. So because it has already been taken into consideration, let me just use the eraser and let me erase this part. Okay. Next, let us look at what more can actually be done. Here, I need to have Angelina, 1 position left, then Sandra, then Scarlett. So this is what I need to write. So I have the only, so can I write Angelina here? If I write Angelina here, I have to write Sandra here, which is not possible. I cannot write Angelina here, I cannot write Angelina here, which automatically means, going by the same Sherlock Holmes theory, the only way that this constraint that Angelina dash Sandra and Scarlett can be written is by considering Angelina over here, dash Sandra over here, Scarlett over here. Is that clear? So this constraint has also been considered, which means we can erase that particular constraint, isn't it? Okay. Next, there is one constraint which we did not write it down, but we just kept it in mind, where he says that Pacino sits between Spacey and Pitt. Okay. If I write Pacino over here, this has to be Spacey then. Okay, possible. If I write Pacino over here, then this has to be Spacey. If this is Spacey, then this has to be Kera, which is not possible. Opposite to Spacey, Kera cannot sit. We know that this for sure is Kera, which means that this cannot be Spacey. If this cannot be Spacey, then where does Spacey come? He comes over here. If this is Spacey, then who comes over here? Pacino comes over here. Is that clear? As much is done. Next, opposite to Kera, Crow also cannot come over here. Therefore, this has to be Crow. Who is being left out? Who is the person? Depp. Therefore, Depp will come over here. Now, we have the entire order in which the people are seated. So, this is the order in which people are seated. Now, if I move to the questions over here, it says, who sits opposite to Scarlett? Spacey sits opposite to Scarlett. If Pacino and Crow interchange their positions, then who sits opposite to Pacino? Sandra. Sandra sits opposite to Pacino. Is that clear? Understood? Okay. I have not taken other questions. We can have n number of questions, but the most important is to get the order right. We got the entire arrangement right. Is that clear? Now that said, let us move on to the next set. Okay. Let us move on to the next set over here. Says one morning, 7 friends T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z are sitting on a bench, not necessarily in the same order. Some of them are facing east, while others are facing west. Following information is known. Okay. Please understand, I have not fixed the direction, which is east, which is west. I have not set it yet. 7 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 who are sitting. No two adjacent people face the same direction. Because I have not fixed which is east, which is west, I can directly say, okay, this person faces this direction, 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 this person faces this direction. Again, alternate this direction and this direction. Is that clear? So, 7 people, 7 directions. You have to be very careful while dealing with left and right for the people over here. T sits third to the right of W. T sits third to the right of W. Okay. Neither of them sit at any end. Let us look at how many possibilities do we have. If we have less number of possibilities, we can write those possibilities as well. Okay. T sits third to the right of W. Can I write T over here? No, because they cannot come at an end. Okay. What happens if I write T over here? T sits third to the right of W. Where is the right of W? No, this will become left. So T cannot come here. Can I write T over here? Yes, it is possible. T sits third to the right of W. Yes, absolutely, this is possible. So if T comes here, W comes here. Right of W is this side because W is facing the opposite direction. He is facing opposite to us. So therefore, W's right is this side. This side is the W's right. So T is sitting third to the right. Okay. What about in this position? Can I write T in this position? No. Because if I write T over here, right of W, so W will have to be at the end, which is not possible. What about in this position? Can I write T over here? if I write T over here, third to the right of W, third to the right of W, not possible. Okay. What about writing T over here itself? Is that possible? Yes, that would be possible because T sits third to the right of W. So another possibility is to write T over here and W over here. Is there any other possibility? No. Is that clear? So these are the only two possibilities. So we have taken that constraint already into consideration. Then he says 3 persons sit between W and Z. Okay. In this case, when W sits over here, leave out these 3, then this position will be occupied by Z. In this case, given that W is over here, leave these 3 and this position will be occupied by Z. Okay. Y sits second to the left of X. Y sits second to the left of X. Okay, fine. Who is not adjacent to you? Fine. Y sits second to the left of X. So leaving out one person, Y and X, in between there should be exactly one person, which means that in this case, the last alternate 2 positions have to be considered. And given that he says Y sits second to the left of X, then in this case, this has to be X, this has to be Y. Y sits second to the left of X. And in this case, the only way Y and X can come is Y sits second to the left of X, which means that if this is X, then this will be Y. So these are the 2 cases. Okay. And then he says X who is not adjacent to you. X who is not adjacent to you. Okay. Fine. X is not adjacent to you. So therefore U cannot come here. So this has to be U. Then who is being TU. So therefore this will be V. So one order has already been obtained. Let us look at another. In this order, what happens? It says U and V, right? So it is possible. Now we get one more possibility. That is, if V sits here, U sits here. Instead, if V sits here, U sits here, and this will be Z, this will be T, this will be Y, this will be W, and this will be X. So totally we have 3 possibilities. Is that clear? Totally we have 3 possible orders in which people can sit. Got that? Now let us look at, and also let us look at the direction. He says that, which is east. W always faces east, which means if I consider this possibility and this possibility, for these 2 possibilities, this is east and this is west. Whereas for this case, for the first case, because W faces this direction, for that this will be east and this will be west. Okay. Now let us look at the questions very quickly. How many persons face east? How many persons face east? If I consider in this case, then it will only be 1, 2 and 3. Whereas if I consider this case, there will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Therefore, how many persons face east? It can be either 3 or 4. Therefore, the correct answer for that one is cannot be determined. It can either be 3 or it can be 4. Therefore, the correct answer is cannot be determined. The next one. If U is adjacent to T, who among the following sits at an end? If U is adjacent to T, among Z, V and X, if U is adjacent to T, okay. In which cases is U adjacent to T? U is adjacent to T in this case, U is adjacent to T in this case as well. So therefore, in either of these cases, who is the person who is definitely at the end? It is V who is definitely at the end. So whenever U is adjacent to T, V is definitely at an end. So who among the following? V is the person who is sitting at an end. Is that clear? The next one. Who sits second to the right of T? Who sits second to the right of T? Now look at it. Who sits second to the right of T? See, I have many possibilities. I have multiple possibilities over here. If I consider the first case, right of T will be this direction, second to the right of T is Y. In this case, second to the right of T is Y. In this case, again, second to the right of T is Y. There may be n number of possibilities, but as long as the answer is unique, I cannot mark my answer as cannot be determined, because there are possibilities. I have considered all possibilities, but in all those possibilities, it is Y who is sitting second to the right of T. Therefore, my answer to that question will be Y. Y is sitting second to the right of T. Therefore, none of these. Please understand, in the actual exam, you may get an answer option as cannot be determined. Do not mark that as answer in haste. It is none of these. The correct value is Y is sitting second to the right of T. Is that clear? Understanding it? Okay. Next, let us look at this set where he says 5 persons, Amar, Bhuvan, Chandra, Dinesh and Ishwar, are comparing their incomes and expenses. Okay. See, comparison is also very similar to linear arrangement. Why do I say that? Why did I bring these two topics together? Comparison is also very similar to linear arrangement. Just that when we are dealing with comparison, this is just one more point that we have to take care. We have to assume that we are arranging people in either ascending order or descending order of the entity that we are comparing them against. Is that clear? Okay. So given that the 5 people are comparing their incomes and expenses with the following information which is given to us, we can actually say that let me arrange the 5 people in the ascending order of their income and in the ascending order of their expense. So first, let me just write down, this is for the income part. And this is for the expense part. 5 people, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Again for the expense, there are 5 people, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 people. So this will be the least income and this will be the highest income. Again, this will be the least expense and this will be the highest expense. Okay. No 2 of them have the same income. No 2 of them have the same expense. Okay. Income of each person is more than his expense. Income of each person is more than his expense. Okay. Income of Amar is more than that of Ishwar. Income of Amar is more than that of Ishwar. So it's like Ishwar ... because I don't know how many people come in between or is there any person who comes in between. So, but I know that A has to be to the right of E. Okay. Income of Amar is more than that of Ishwar and expense of Chandra is more than that of Dinesh. Expense of Chandra is more than that of Dinesh. Expense of Chandra is more than that of Dinesh. Okay. Next. Income of Bhuvan is less than expense of Ishwar. See, if income itself is less than the expense, then definitely income will be less than the income and expense will be less than the expense. Is that clear? So, income of Bhuvan is less than the expense because income of every person is greater than his expense. If income of Bhuvan itself, if income itself is less than the expense, then definitely income of Bhuvan will be less than the income of Ishwar. Income of Bhuvan will be less than the income of Ishwar. Okay. At the same time, expense of Bhuvan is less than the expense of Ishwar. Expense of Bhuvan is less than the expense of Ishwar. Next, he says, person whose income is second highest, person whose income is second highest, that is this position, has the least expense. So the same person has to come over here. Then he says, person with the highest income, that is this position, whoever we write over here, has the highest expense. So the same person must come over here. Income and expense of Dinesh is more than the income and expense of Ishwar respectively. Okay, Dinesh income is more than Ishwar. Okay, E dot 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 D. Here also it will be E dot 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 D, which means I can go and there is a B E, right? I think E and E. I'm just removing this and I will write it in the top row. Concatenate and write it. So therefore, this will be like B, then E, then D, then C. Okay, fine. Now this is all we have. We have to fill this entire grid or fill this entire arrangement based on these constraints. See, it has to be B, then somewhere E, then somewhere D, then somewhere C in this case. For a second, assume what happens if I write B in this case. If I write B over here, what actually happens? See, if I write B over here, then I will be forced to write B over here. And if I write B over here, I do not have any position for me to write E and A. If I write B over here, I do not have any position with me to write E and A. So therefore, B cannot come here. The moment I know that B cannot come here, then Sherlock Holmes again comes to our rescue, which is this will be B. This has to be E. This has to be D. And therefore, this has to be C. So C will come over there as well. So coming back. So this has to be C. This will also be C. Okay. Now who is the person? This has to be A then. Therefore, this will also be A. Let me come over here. This is A. This is also A. Okay, fine. What else? I have to write this constraint. It has to be B, E, and then A. But after E has to come D. So if I have three positions, it's like B, E, D, and then A. That's the position of it. So this is B, this is E, this is D, this is A and C. So we got the order. We got the order for their incomes, we got the order for the expenses. We are done. Now we can move on with the questions. Who has the least expense? Who has the least expense? Who has the least expense? The least expense is with Amar. Who has the least expense? Amar. Next question. Who has the third highest income? Who has the third highest income? See, when we are dealing with 5 people, third highest or third least does not matter. It will be Dinesh. Okay. So, who has the third highest income? It is Dinesh who has the third highest income. Next, who has the second highest expense? It is Amar who has the second highest. It is Dinesh who has the second highest expense. Again, this will also be Dinesh. Next, who has the highest savings? See, in this entire scenario, the only person who can have the highest savings is if the person who has the highest income has the least expense. Only then I can say that that person has the highest savings. If that is not the case, I cannot state anything because the ratio of income to expense is not known. So nothing can be stated over here. Therefore, the answer to that question is cannot be determined. Is that clear? Next, we move on to another set where we deal with comparisons again. Okay. Says 500 percentilers A, B, C, D, and E have been ranked 1 to 5 in the three sections QA, DI, and LR based on their absolute scores in those sections. Okay. Fine. So let me form the grid at least. It's the grid. Let me form the grid. QA, DI, LR. There are 5 people. A, B, this is C, I have D, and then I have E. 5 people have been ranked in QA, DI, and LR, ranked from 1 to 5. No person got the same rank in any two sections. That means along the row, the same number cannot repeat. That means along the row, the same number cannot repeat. Okay. Next, no two persons got the same rank in any section. That means along the column, no number can repeat. Along the row, no repetition of number. Along the column, no repetition of the number. Okay, this is very similar to a mini Sudoku that we are playing. Okay, with constraints. It's good. Further, we know the following. The person who got the first rank in QA got third rank in DI. Person who got the first rank in QA got the third rank in DI. So wherever I write 1 in this column, corresponding entry in this column has to be 3. Next, B is ranked higher than A. Please understand, when I say B is ranked higher than A, numerically lower than A. Numerically, the value in this cell has to be lower than what I write in this cell. Why? Because higher ranked means that a higher seeded, like first rank is better than second rank, is higher than the second rank. So numerically it is less than. But lower than C. So this value has to be greater than C, what I write over here. Okay, in this particular column. Fine. D did not get the third rank in any section, so therefore over here in this entire row, 3 cannot come anywhere. Neither B nor E got the fifth rank in any section, so therefore 5 cannot come in this row and 5 cannot come in this row. Person who got the third rank in LR got the fifth rank in DI. So if this is 5 and this is 3. Is that clear? B is ranked above A and E in DI. B is ranked above A and E. That is less than A, less than E, greater than C. Sorry, let me just take the eraser. Sorry about that. This will be greater than C. Okay. Then neither A nor D got the first rank in any section. So neither A did not get the first rank, D did not get the first rank in any section. A was ranked lower than B but higher than C in LR. Lower than B, that is greater than B. Higher than C, that is less than C numerically in LR. Okay. Now this is what is the constraint. Now we have to fill this entire grid such that all these constraints are met. Now I don't have to further, because I have already symbolized everything, I don't have to look at the verbal statements over here, right? Now let me come over here. Let us try and concentrate on this part. Now if you come to this particular cell, I cannot write 5. So 5 is out of question. I cannot write 4 also. Why? Because if I write 4, then I need to have at least 2 numbers greater than 4 that I can write. 5 and 6, but 6 is not available. So 4 also cannot come. So 5 cannot come, 4 cannot come. 5 cannot come, 4 cannot come. And this has to be greater than something, therefore 1 also cannot come. 1, 5, 4 cannot come. 1, 5, 4 cannot come. 1, 5 and 4 cannot come. Or 1, 4 and 5 cannot come. Now we are left with what? 2 and 3. What happens if I write 3 over here? If I write 3 over here, then I'll be forced to write 1 over here. If I write 3 over here, I'll be forced to write 1 over here. But if I write 1 over here, then 1 has to be greater than something. It is greater than only 0, but I cannot write 0 over here. Therefore, 1 cannot come here, which means 3 cannot come here. Which means 1, 3, 4 and 5 have been eliminated. 1, 3, 4 and 5 have been eliminated. When I am able to eliminate 1, 3, 4 and 5 out of the 5 digits, then definitely the last one, Sherlock Holmes again. So the last one has to definitely be the right way. So therefore this has to be the second rank. So over here, it means B got second rank in DI section. Is that clear? Okay. Now that we have already completed, we have filled in this position. 2 is greater than the value for C that I write, which means that this has to be 1 only. Very good. Just like Sudoku, see, one value you get, you automatically get another value. Okay. Next, anything else that can be completed? Now, this 2 has to be, 2 will anyway be less than either 3 or 4 or 5. Okay. If I come to this cell, can I do something about it? 1 cannot come, 2 cannot come, 5 cannot come. So it can either be 3 or it can be 4. I have 2 possibilities, so I will not take that. Now come to this one. 1 cannot come, 2 cannot come, 3 cannot come because of this. 4 is possible. 5 again cannot come. Why I cannot write 5? Because if I write 5 according to this particular constraint over here, if I write 5, I will be forced to write 3 in this cell for LR. But 3 cannot come in this entire row. Therefore, 5 also cannot come. So 1, 2, 3 and 5 cannot come, which means that this has to be 4 only. Okay. Now 1, 2 and 4 we are done. We are left with only 3 and 5. Over here, if 5 cannot come, this has to be 3. Then this will automatically be 5. And the moment you write 3 over here, you can write 1 over here. The moment you write 3 over here, you can write 1 over here. Is that clear? And the moment you write 5 over here, this will automatically become 3. So this much has been done. Can I proceed further and see if I can fill something else immediately after this? Let us look at it. See, in this particular cell, 1 cannot come, 5 cannot come, 3 cannot come. So I am left with only 2 and 4. But if I write 2 over here, then I will be forced to write 1 over here, because this has to be less than what I write over here. If I write 2 over here, I'll be forced to write 1 over here, which is not possible. So 2 also cannot come. 1, 2, 3, 5 cannot come. That means this has to be 4 again. Is that clear? Okay. Now come to this one. 1, 2, 4 and 5 cannot come. So this has to be 3. Now come to this cell. Okay. 1, 3, 4 cannot come. I am left with what? 2 and 5 are the possibilities. However, the value that I write over here, more than that, greater than that, is 3. That means this cell has to be less than 3. It has to either be 1 or 2. 1 cannot come. Therefore, it has to be 2 only. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are done. Therefore, this will become 5. Now come to this particular portion. 3, 2, 1, 5, 4. Let us look at this cell. 5 cannot come, 4 cannot come, 3 cannot come, 1 cannot come. So therefore, this has to be 2. Now come to this one. 1 cannot come, 2 cannot come, 3 cannot come, 5 cannot come. So therefore, this has to be 4. Next I am left with what? 1 and 5. 1 cannot come here. Therefore, this will be 5. That means this is going to be 1. Now we have the entire table with the ranking filled up. Is that clear? Now once we have filled up this entire table with the ranks, let us look at the questions. Who is ranked immediately above D in DI? Who is ranked immediately above D in DI? D got 4th rank. Immediately above D, that is 3rd rank in DI, E. Therefore, the answer for this one will be E. The next one. Who got 1st rank in LR? Who got the 1st rank in LR? It is B who got the 1st rank in LR. Who got the 1st rank in LR? It is B who got the 1st rank in LR. Who got 2 even numbered ranks? Who got 2 even numbered ranks? So the 2 even numbered ranks, it is not A, it is not B, it is not C, it is D. It is not E. Therefore, D got 2 even numbered ranks. Who got 2 even numbered ranks? It is D who got 2 even numbered ranks. Is that clear? Now that said, let us look at another set. Set number 7. It says 7 friends A, B, C, D, E, F and G are of different weights and are sitting in a row from left to right in decreasing order of their weight. Following information is known. Okay, in the decreasing order of their weight, they are sitting. Fine. So 1. So this person is the heaviest, and this person is the lightest. No two of them is of the same weight, and weight of each person is an integer in kilograms. G is not the heaviest. Okay. G is not the heaviest, but is heavier than C. D and G are adjacent to each other. D is heavier than F. F who is lighter than A. F who is lighter than A. Who is not the heaviest? So A who is not the heaviest. So A is not the heaviest. C and G are heavier than B. C and G are heavier than B. B who is not the lightest. So B cannot come over here. A and C are adjacent to each other. E is the second lightest. Heaviest among the 7 persons weighs 80 kilos. This person weighs 80 kilos. And B weighs 60 kilos. Okay, B weighs 60 kilos. B, the weight of B is 60. So this is what we have. We have to fill this entire row such that all these constraints are met, isn't it? Where do we start with? See, straight away I cannot write G over here. Okay. Can I write G anywhere else? What happens if I write G over here? I need to have C and B. If I write G over here, then I have a possibility for C over here with the ability to write A here or here, and then I will be able to write B over here. But what if I write G over here? If I write G over here, so there's a possibility to write G over here. Well, what happens if I write G over here? If I write G over here, then C will come over here and A will come over here, which means this will become B. Not possible. I cannot write B over here. Given that B cannot be written over here, so the only way then will be for me to be able to write G over here so that I am able to at least write B over here. So the only position that G can take is this, then the only position that B can take will be this one. And this will be 60 kilos. Okay. Now what all constraints have already been considered, let us eliminate them so that we do not get confused. So, sorry, before that, let me just fill up one more thing. He says A and C are adjacent to each other, and so it can be CA or it can be AC. Okay, and F has to be the least, so therefore F has to be the least. So this will be F. Okay, and I have to write D and G have to come next to each other, therefore this will become D. Then A and C have to come next to each other. A must be to the left of F. That means if this is A, this is C. Instead, if this is C, this is A. Is there any other constraint? No. So therefore, this is the order in which these people are seated. So there are two possibilities. Is that clear? Now if we look at the questions, which of the following could possibly be E's weight? Now if we want E's weight has to be less than 60 kilos. E's weight has to be less than 60 kilos. So possibility is 59 kilos only among the answer options. Next, if lightest person's weight is 14 kilos less than that of B, which of the following can be E's weight? Lightest person is 14 kilos less than B. So therefore, this is 46, which means that in this case, E's weight has to lie between 60 kilos and 46 kilos. Between 60 and 46. Between 60 and 46 means that E's weight in this case has to be 49 kilos. Is that clear? So we have seen, at least we have got an overview of different types of questions with respect to linear arrangements and comparisons. So if you like this session, please do subscribe, and the next session will be on circular arrangement. It will be on 11th June, that is tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. where on the same Unacademy YouTube channel, Let's Crack Management Exams English. Please understand, you need to search for Let's Crack Management Exams English. Is that clear? Okay, because the entire lecture will be given in English. That is the reason that we have suffixed English to the name of the channel. So the channel name is Let's Crack Management Exams English. Hope to see you all on the live session tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and hope you understood linear arrangements and comparisons. I hope you enjoyed the session. So if you like this, please do click on like. You can share and you can subscribe. And while subscribing, please do not forget to use the code APUS. Please do not forget to use the code APUS, because when you use the code APUS, you not only get 10% discount on the subscription fee, but that is one of the ways that you can show your positive feedback to me and my style of teaching. Is that clear? So hope to see you all. So please subscribe and do not forget the code APUS. That said, this is Arjun Prasad finishing the course of today now. Is that clear? Hope all of you have a nice day. Thank you.